Welcome everybody to the K&B Music Den. As always, I'm Brad and you.
I'm everyone's friend, Keith.
Very good. Well, guess what we're here to do again today?
Oh,
There's a
I
bear
think,
that broke in your house.
yeah.
He's got some porridge on the table. Is it good, bad, or just right?
We're going to find out.
Well, here's the Goldilocks and our artists that we're checking out this week. Are you underrated? Are you overrated? Are you just crap? Like, what are you? Is the Jam. And the album is All Mod Cons. Now,
Yep.
this was a Keith recommendation. He brought this to the table and said, I want to check this one out. This is not one I was overly familiar with. So, I didn't go back and look too hard, but where do you see this rated at as far as in Rolling Stone Top 500? Is this an album that gets a lot of love?
Dude, I checked. I'm pretty sure about this because I did check because I have like an index, you can see and
Sure.
then find out where it is. It's not in there at all. It's
Not
not
a
even
top
in the top
500.
500. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. So,
So
so I think,
what made you want to check this one out?
well, I'll tell you what, Brad, I'm glad you asked. I, it's one of those bands that I was feeling that I keep hearing about that are, well respected. Kind of one of those bands that musicians like, where it's
Sure.
not necessarily your average Joe knows them very well. I do have a feeling though that they're better known in the UK than the
Sure.
United
Makes sense.
States. Yeah. But I was thinking about the ones that we've reviewed so far and how highly rated they are. And it's just a band that I had gotten into a little more recently, and this is supposed to be like their great album. And I was just thinking, man, let's put this through the Goldilocks gauntlet here because I'm curious to see, your thoughts. I'm not very well versed in the Jam. I mean, I may have known him a
Sure.
little bit better going into this than you, but not much. um, so yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fascinating because this is not a band like the Clash. I mean, it's the Clash. I mean, everybody's heard of the Clash. Even 9-year-olds have Clash
yeah,
t-shirts. You know what I mean? And then we
yeah.
did, yeah. I mean, now I'm forgetting the name of it here.
Velvet
Velvet
Underground.
Underground with
Yeah,
Nico,
yeah,
and you see that on T-shirts everywhere, and like even people
yeah,
who don't know the band have it like as a
yeah,
fashion statement.
yeah.
So this one caught me off guard. Okay, we're going to do a Goldilocks on an album that I don't know how highly rated it is, or if it has as much attention. And I'll tell you, out of the three we've listened to, this is by far my favorite album. And I
Wow.
feel like this one should be in the top 500 somewhere. Um,
Yes.
I've listened to this quite a bit since the recommendation. And to me, if you put the Clash's album and you put the Jam's album next to each other, I'm taking the Jam every day. Um, and I know we're going to get some shit from the Clash fans over here.
Yep.
And they can't kill me because I said the Clash was just right. It wasn't overrated.
Yeah.
It was very inspirational album. It's done a lot. But that Jam album, I can't believe I didn't know it. It's so good.
I'm so happy to hear you say these
Okay,
words.
so you felt the same way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think for me as well, like it's not even close. Of the first three albums we've done, like this
Yep,
is my favorite to listen to.
agreed.
Um, and that's honestly, it's part of the reason I picked it because it's like what makes the Clash and Velvet Underground with Nico, rise to the tippy top of these lists and the Jam, the top
Mm-hmm.
500 albums of all time.
It's not there.
It's not even that. The band is not even represented at all.
That's
Period.
that's insane.
These are the kind of things that like I don't understand.
It's crazy because if you would have asked me, Brad, where do you think this is slotted? I would have guessed mid 250s in that area. Like I can't.
Yeah,
It's probably not your top 100 albums,
yeah,
but this is definitely. It felt like motivate like this would be an album that a lot of bands would mention as albums that they grew up listening to or albums that
influence.
inspired them.
Yeah,
The inspirational thing that we talked about. So to not be in the top 500 is shocking to me. This is an album that I want on vinyl now. The first
yeah,
two I couldn't care less if I had, but I do want this one on vinyl. Um,
yeah. Me too.
so this to me is highly underrated. Not just underrated, highly underrated.
I 100% agree with you,
Okay.
and I'm glad you feel that way. I get I get a little touch of Rolling Stones on this album. I get a lot of the early career of the Who
Yeah.
on this album. But again, they're their own thing,
Oh, they are.
absolutely. And I think, man, I think in the UK these guys are very much on a pedestal. And I think honestly,
Okay, good.
I think this is another example of us, Americans
Americans just
just
dropping the ball.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, I think it might be that simple.
Yeah, it has to be because this is an album that, like I said, if you put them both on vinyl, same price, I'm taking this over to Clash any day of the week.
Yeah, and
And that Clash
it's
album is what top 20
oh, it was
ranked.
in the top 10, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, and I get it. Like we said, we talked about it for the inspirational aspect of it and what it did for music and for bands following it. But I'm not so sure that Jam doesn't have that same kind of effect. I mean,
See,
because
that's what I want.
when did this come out? It was this is like
Oh, jeez. I I think I should have written it down.
but I mean, this album is 50 years old now, at least.
Yeah, I think it was in the seven. I'm pretty sure it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Um, Mid to late 70s is my guess.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should know that, but I knew it at one point. I forgot.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it just to
But
me, this album just I really think this album does not get the attention, at least stateside, that it should be getting.
yeah, and it's interesting because you and I are both all about albums, listening to albums all the way through, and they're a piece of
Yep.
art, and the
Mm-hmm.
sequence matters and all that. And of course, that holds true with this tremendous album. Um, but this is also an album where if I just wanted to pick out a song and say, hey, to see if you would like this band or see if you want to listen to this band, the song that has just blown my mind that hasn't been a part of my life up until now and is now a huge part of my life is English Rose.
Oh yeah,
Dude, that is one of the most
amazing.
beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And where has it been all my life?
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't we hear it over here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's so but the whole album really, it's a great listen. Yeah, and I think this is just I think it's more of a US thing where it's just it didn't catch on for some reason.
That's weird. That's very weird.
I think it's that simple.
But I'm glad you brought this to our attention because, yeah, I mean, this is now one that's in my, it's going to be a staple in my category. I mean, I'm definitely going to be looking for the vinyl.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've listened to some of their other albums a bit, and I'm gonna do some more exploring. I know this is not the only really good album they have. I can tell you that. But yeah, it's so great to discover a band that you're not as familiar with and just realize that,
Yeah.
man, in their own right, like these guys are legends,
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you love this album as much as I do, and I'm so glad I picked it.
Yeah, I am too.
So speaking of picking it, um, I want to ask you, are you prepared to tell me what the next Goldilocks game album is going to be? What's your choice for me?
Certainly am. So what I did to go and look wasn't as clever as you, where I found an album that just I didn't know. I actually looked at the Rolling Stone top like 100, and I was just going through, and I was like, which one of these albums am I not overly familiar with, and do I really think it should be that high? So I know slightly a little bit about the Pretenders, and
Oh,
their
yeah.
album is ranked really high in this category, and it's a debut album called Pretenders.
Yes,
So
yes.
Chrissy Hind in the group, I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's jump into that one. Let's take a look, listen to it, see if it should be that high in the Rolling Stone Top 500, or if this is a overshot on their part. So what do you think? You down to do some Pretenders?
Dude, that's a great pick because I'm kind of with you. They're more of a songs band for me than an album band.
Yes.
Which is probably a shortcoming of me.
So me as well, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that one. That's a great pick, man.
Yeah, so I figure we'll dig in for a week on that, and then we'll come back and see if that porridge is too hot or that porridge is too cold.
Or if it's just right.
That's right.
So we both agree on the Jam All Mod Cons, not just underrated, highly underrated.
Highly underrated, yes.
So cool. I hope that prompts people to check that out if they're not familiar, or if you are a fan of the Jam and you know more about them, and maybe you live in a different part of the globe, and maybe you could tell us, if this is your favorite album or not, or if it is, what is your
Yeah.
second favorite album, so we can listen to it and kind of jump into the Jam,
Yep.
which I'm definitely going to be doing either way. So any recommendations in the comments would help.
Yep.
Um, great pick, The Pretenders. So, folks, if you want to play along with us, um, listen to the debut album, self-titled, by The Pretenders, and we will decide what we think about it as far as too hot, too cold, or just right.
Yep.
So I'm really enjoying this concept here with Goldilocks, and I think it's something that I think it's something that's kind of unique and kind of cool, and I think we could do this for years. I mean, there's a million albums we could do.
There's a ton of albums. Yep. Yeah. This was your idea, Keith.
I believe, is that? Yeah, I believe so. That's correct.
Great idea. Great idea.
Thank you. Once in a while, For every 10 you have, I get one.
Yeah, see, bass players can do some things, once in a while,
Yeah, once in a while. All right. Well, hey, Brad, thanks again for your time. I'm so glad you love this album. Actually, it kind of makes me want to go listen to it again.
Yeah.
So, as always, Brad, I am your friend Keith, guys, and thanks for watching the K&B Music 10. Please like this video, share it on social media, smash the bell for notifications. You'll be notified every time we drop new content, and subscribe to the channel. May you and your family have a happy and healthy Christmas time, New Year's, and we will be seeing you soon with more content. Lots of great albums coming out next year, and we're going to be right there for you. Thanks again, Brad, and enjoy your holidays with your family.
You as well, Mr. Knowles.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Bye.